Welcome to the Why Not podcast, hosted by Chrissy and Yvonne. In a world where everyone asks why, we're here to ask, why not?
Hey Chrissy,
Hey Yvonne,
how are you doing today?
what am I doing today? I'm recording a podcast. What are you doing?
Me too, actually, and also eyeballing a spider.
Eyeballing a spider. Maybe he just wants to be a guest.
Oh, he's just a bit scary, like he's just a bit much now. I want him to do well in life. I want him to succeed, but I just don't want him to touch me.
Sounds like men in general.
Yeah, they say the same things to Mark all the time.
Poor Mark.
Poor Marky. Yes, so it's a lovely sunny day in Dublin today. We've just entered phase 2 of our lockdown plan. So how are you feeling about that?
Yeah, grand once everyone keeps away from me.
Yeah, I went to the beach for my swim today and like there was so many people. And it's Monday. I mean I can't complain. I was one of the people. But it's madness. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's crazy, especially as well. All the kids are finished school now, so
yeah, kids everywhere.
But teenagers for sure, and they're just congregating again.
Congregating, I know.
Speaking of teenagers,
that was nice. Nice.
Yeah. So the episode we want to do today is things we would tell our younger self, but you probably wouldn't even listen.
No, it's so important though to actually take time and reflect on that. I mean, we kind of all, I feel like we all kind of know what we would say, but then when you actually take the time to think back to what you were doing and what you were like when you were 18, 19, so for us that would be 10 years ago.
Yep.
We're old ladies now. But yeah, it's
in our very late 20s.
Yeah, so I'm just hanging on to the end of my 20s now, not long left.
I've got like 2 weeks left of being 28 and I'm like, I'm keeping them.
Yeah, I'm officially 29, so
you're old.
You're as young as you feel.
Oh jeez, I feel 60 then.
I feel very youthful. Just an update, I've now lost vision of the spider. So I don't know where he is now. Oh, he's after going back up. He's actually incredible.
He's incredible now. He's going away from you.
This web is going to be something else.
A work of art.
It really will be. Anyway, enough spider chat. I'll keep you posted about how he is. I'll let you know what he's up to later on.
If she screams halfway through the podcast, we know he's gotten too close.
You know why? Yeah. If I just like up and leave, he got too close, couldn't hack it. So anyway, today we are going to take a little bit of time to reflect on the advice we would give to our younger selves. I think a lot of stuff we have in common, and there might be a few differences along the way. But first of all, I think, Chrissy, I just want to ask you, can you kind of note a particular period in your life where you significantly developed, like you really felt you transitioned into, I guess, your present self?
I suppose it kind of came when I decided to actually take the leap and go fully into gym work and the personal training area, because I was working in retail for like 3 years at a full-time contract. It was a grand wage and stuff like that, and like nothing spectacular, but and then I literally went and took a part-time job and took a complete jump back. I incidentally around the same time moved back home, so I didn't have as much rent to pay. So
yeah,
I did that, and instead of just staying with the cushy job that I knew what I did, I was like, right, no, I want to do this. I'm going to go for it. This is my way in. Off we go. And then that was like 4 years ago, and I'm still here. So
yeah,
must have been a good idea.
And you learned a lot about yourself in that time.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I definitely wasn't enjoying the job I was in. Not going to go into too much detail about that, but not just what the work was, there was issues with. And then, yeah, no, ever since I've been with that, like, it's definitely was a brilliant idea. Like, I'm really happy I did it, and I'm still not like fully where I want to be yet. However, I'm working towards it, and I'm closer than I was if I'd have stayed in with my fully paid job.
Yeah, I think we do. We learn so much, don't we, when we take those big risks.
Yeah,
You kind of have to learn about yourself. You have to, when you take those risks, you have to kind of, I guess, use your kind of your resilience to get through it.
yeah, and you just have
Yeah.
to put yourself in those positions, or you won't grow. So,
Yeah.
and what would you
And
say for yourself?
yeah, I think for me it was more when I went to college. I think when I went to university. So when I left school first when I was 18, I went straight into full-time dance training, and it was full time, like it was 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. We had kind of like, I think, can't remember fully, but we'd have like 3 hour dance class in the morning, 3 hour dance class in the evening. Like it was full on. And then I was also part of like a dance school where I was doing kind of work experience to teach dance, and I was also like training to perform and hoping to start doing auditions. So like to get into kind of like dance universities in the UK and stuff. So it was
Yeah,
just my whole life. Didn't really have much time for any personal growth or personal development. It was just dance was everything. And then I guess I left that when I'd say I was probably about 20 to 21 when I gave up on my uh, professional dance training.
yeah,
And I decided to go to university, like kind of all my friends had done. After school, most of my friends had gone, to like DCU, UCD, all those places to do arts degrees, etc. And I was just quite different because I was like so focused on that goal. I was like, no, I want to be a professional dancer. That's it. So I didn't like go on big nights out all the time and all that kind of thing where that everyone else was doing. So then
yeah.
I went to college when I was a bit older. I was 21, I think, going into first year in college. So most of the friends that I then made in university were 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds. And I could see
Hmm.
the gap, like, even though it was only a few years and I got on really well with my peers in college as well. I made some great friends. Um, but yeah, I was like kind of already developing this kind of, I guess I was just in a different place mentally than they were, and I don't mean that as kind of like what's the word, like in a condescending way. We just were in different places in our life, and then I started to develop more as a person. Then, I think as well, just being around, like I did English and drama, so we did like a lot of feminism, a lot of kind of cultural theories, and queer theory and everything, and I was so immersed in that world. And I think I always really needed that in school, but I didn't have it.
Oh, okay.
And now, yeah, I'm like this massive feminist, and that really helped me develop, I think, as well as a person.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, just being around that all the time. And I think I wanted that when I was younger, but I actually just didn't have the discourse. I didn't understand it, didn't have the words to kind of explain that that was how I felt. But then, when you go to university and that's all you talk about, it's like, wow, now I know.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that really helped me develop as a person too.
I'd say, yeah, no, that's definitely I didn't have as much of the same experience in college. However, here I am nearly 10 years later, and I'm back doing something that I actually specialized in college. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, exactly. It
It's
comes
in the
full
end,
circle.
like,
Yeah.
yeah. Like,
So
for everyone, just for everyone to know, I did actually do media in college before I became a personal trainer, and I specialized in audio production and audio recording.
and here we go. She's super editor.
Yeah, not really.
Yeah, you are. You're
I
doing a
could
great
spend so
job.
much longer. I could spend so much longer editing these.
Well, look, you do a better job than I could even hope of doing. I'd be like, done. Chrissy, what advice would you like to give your younger self?
So one of them is like, don't try to chase people. Like
Yeah.
if they don't want to be your friends, they don't want to be your friend. There's no point you going after them and changing you to be like them, because at the end of the day, they still don't like you and they're still going to forget about you.
Yeah.
If you're not getting back what you're giving to any relationship, just get out of there. Don't bother. Like, don't wait for it to get better. They're not. You will find people who will appreciate you back the same way as you appreciate them.
Yeah.
So it is like, it's not worth hanging around for them. I suppose another one as well, don't believe the negative self-talk other people or you're giving to yourself. Just stop that. And I
Yeah.
only learned that in the last year. So, like, the most limiting thing is the stuff you tell yourself. So, like, or maybe people tell you stuff as well. But don't listen to that stuff. If you want to go for something, go for it. You know, believe in yourself. You can do it. The only person stopping you is you. So don't be afraid and get out there and just do it. Who cares what people are going to say to you or think of you? And to be honest, most of those people you're worried about thinking about you probably have no opinion.
That's so true.
So it's like, why bother worrying about what these 10 people are going to say when they probably don't even notice?
Yeah.
Who care?
It's it's powerful stuff, isn't it? Taking that time to like think back to
Yeah.
like little Chrissy, little Yvonne.
And it's just like, oh, why did you bother? But like, you learn from it. But
Yeah. And I
now
think
it's like,
so
okay,
important. Sorry, Chrissy, sorry.
no, go on ahead. No, go on ahead.
So important to know, like, as well, that you're never looking back with regret, I guess. Like, you have to kind of go through these experiences to learn.
Yeah.
And you know, I guess it's by not believing in yourself that you kind of learn to then believe in yourself. Um, you don't just kind of wake up and know these things.
Oh, for sure. Like, it takes a lot of self-development and working on it. Like, yeah, it's a constant process. Just because like, say now it's like, okay, yeah, going out and doing a podcast, like, doesn't mean you're not shitting yourself every time you release something. It's just like, you have to keep doing it. Like,
Yeah, I get the fear as well. I'm like,
oh
oh
my god,
people are listening
panic
to
attack. What would you say to yourself?
so many things. I think, yeah, definitely everything that you said there. Absolutely. I would tell that to little Yvonne as well. Just to kind of, yeah, I guess if I'm looking back at, say, my kind of teenage self, maybe even into my early 20s, I was just a ball of stress. I just didn't know what I wanted, who I wanted to be. I didn't know who I was. And I think that's actually fine. Like, I've figured it out. So I think I would just tell myself to like stop stressing about that, like stop trying to kind of define yourself as one thing or another. Like, you are what you are, and you'll figure it out, and you'll never actually fit into a box. You're always going to be a bit of this, a bit of that. You know, like, yeah, I feel like I'm on the fence with so many things, and that's okay. I think I always wanted to say I'm this or I'm that, but it's okay to be both.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's definitely something I would tell myself. I think, yeah, what you were saying, like, it's okay for you to leave a toxic relationship. It's okay for you to walk away, and you won't be alone. And if you do spend a little bit of time on your own, that's okay. And you're a really good crack. So if you have to be your own best friend for a little while, that's all right. And
Yeah.
you'll, by being alone like that for a little bit of time, you'll be surprised at how quickly the right people walk in and kind of save the day. I've never had like this really long period of time where I've had no friends, because if I've ever had to walk away from a friendship or a relationship, it leaves space for something better to come in. And that has
Yeah.
happened every single time. So anytime I've had to walk away, the gap has been filled so quickly by something better. Um
Yeah.
yeah, just I think also so important. Okay, two or three little things that maybe I would say as well. Number one is don't take yourself too seriously. So I think I have a habit of over intellectualizing myself sometimes and making everything very, very serious. And of course, there's moments for that, but I think really important is to just forget about it, have a laugh. Like it's grand, and just realize how silly this all is sometimes. Like we're human flesh bags walking around doing stuff. Like it's really weird. Like it's okay to laugh about it and
Yeah.
just not take it all too seriously. I would tell myself as well to stop drinking so much. That is one
But that's
thing that
fun.
huh?
But that's fun.
Yeah, drinking is fun for me now. I love drinking, as you know, and in a when I say it like that, that sounds really bad, but like I'd say I have a
We
pretty healthy,
obviously drink in moderation.
but I actually do enjoy drinking in moderation for the most part. Okay, look, we all have a binge. That's grand. I love a gin and tonic when it's sunny. I love my wine. You know that. I have a love affair with a good bottle of wine. Um,
Yeah.
but my relationship to alcohol is so good now. My relationship to alcohol in my teens and early 20s was shocking. Like it was so bad. I don't know what it's probably very common relationship that like young people have with drink, but
Sure.
oh, I just don't even know. I don't even I just it was making me unhappy. I was waking up every single Saturday morning with the fear, with this massive anxiety about the night before, about what I said, what I did, who did I hurt, and then that anxiety would run into the next week. I'd be terrified then, say if I went on a night out with like work people or something, then I'd be terrified to see them on Monday morning. I would imagine that so many people have this experience, but it was just ridiculous. It just was not helpful in my life at all. Um,
Yeah.
and I completely went 100% sober for I think about maybe 2.5 years, and now I drink again, but like it's a way different type of drinking now. So I would tell
Yeah.
myself from a younger age, maybe just quit the drinking, take it easy, and rebuild a healthy relationship with alcohol. Um,
It's like a lovely little crutch for you when you're young and you're afraid of everyone. You just get drunk and then you just talk
yeah,
shite, and then you get too drunk and you talk too much shite. And
and it's such a I used to find like there was this really massive pressure on me, because I'm again like I'm quite a silly person by nature. Like I'm giddy. I don't really care what other people think of me that much. Like I will happily dance like a lunatic in a club. I absolutely don't care what anyone thinks of me if I'm having a good time. So there was this pressure on me, I feel, as a young person when I went out to be that like the clown and to
oh,
do silly stuff to kind of get everyone going and kind of get the banter going. And there was a part of me that loved that role, because I knew like I'm the funny one, I'm the one who gets the party going, everyone thinks I'm gas, this is hilarious. But then the other side of it is then if I went too far, then there'd be this massive judgment on my shoulders that like I made a fool out of them, or and that was like there was this massive pressure on me to like get the banter exactly right whilst being gee-eyed, which is really hard to do. So it's like, how can you put that much pressure on anyone? And I was putting that pressure on myself too, Uh, yeah. So
yeah.
it
I was
was,
like, I would be more drinking because I'm so bloody quiet. I'd be like, okay, now I can talk to the people,
yeah,
and
I
then I
get
get
that
too
too.
drunk and
Yeah.
come out with some awful.
That's the thing. Like, I'm actually a massive introvert. Like, you know this. Like, it's weird. Like, I'm quite sociable. I'm really happy to talk to people who I like, but I actually am kind of shy. Um,
Yeah.
but the alcohol would definitely cover up the shy, but didn't really allow me to be myself. So
Mm.
I'd end up just feeling like really off because I obviously was acting in a way that wasn't in line with who I actually am. So I just feel really
Yeah.
weird and off about it, even though everyone else would probably just think like, "Oh, Yvonne's the life of the party, isn't she, gas?" Um, yeah. So it was.
You know what? Actually, a few years ago, I came up with this thing. Not really. It's not really like a massive life hack thing. But if you ever make a tit yourself, or you're really drunk on a night out, and I do this all the time. It's like the same thing if I walk into a pole or something like that, and it. You do something stupid and people are like, "Oh God, you were so drunk that night," and I'm like, "Yeah, no, it was locked, wasn't I?" And it completely ruins their slagging fest if you just agree with them like that. It's like
Yeah,
you're rocking Pole Egypt, and I just, I know, I should look where I was going. And then when you laugh it off, they're like, "Oh, that's the end of that now."
it's so true, and that is like the don't take yourself too seriously thing. Like it is funny. Like if people walk into polls, that's quality humor, and it's
Yeah,
okay if it's you. It's okay if you need to laugh at you. Um, it does. It just makes the whole thing a bit more silly, and yeah, puts less pressure on you to be like this perfect person that doesn't walk into polls. We've all done that.
like I'd be pretty good at like not caring and laughing stuff off, like
Yeah,
and making a fool of myself, like whatever. I'm very good at that. But even when you're dying on the inside, if it really helps because then you don't get an awful slagging for ages because you're like, "Oh God, I can't believe I did that." But once
I
you say
know.
that, they're like, "Oh, that's the end of it. Damn
Yeah,
it."
you're so right, actually. Just like, yeah, whatever I was locked and I did loads of silly things, whatever.
But if you go turn around like, "Do not talk to me about that," they'd be like, "Right, here we go. Here's my like
Exactly.
ammo for the next half an hour." And did you
Yeah,
remember
I
did that?
was
Did you
just
remember
gonna
did
say, yeah.
that? Yes, I remember all of it.
Yeah, I remember all of it and I don't want to.
Yeah.
I'm just checking up
Oh
on
no,
the
I don't
spider.
remember that part. That was after I blacked out. Thank fuck.
Unfortunately, though, you never black out at the times that you want
You
to.
need to.
You always remember the worst things.
Yeah.
You're like, why can't I just forget that that ever happened? I haven't had a moment like that in a long time. Um, the drunkest I've been in years was a few weeks ago, and I just drank a bottle of wine, watched loads of Father Ted, and then I went to bed at like midnight. You know, like
You
I
crazy
think
lady.
I know I'm a party animal. I think that suits me though. Like I really enjoyed that now. I did not enjoy the hangover the next day because I woke up early to do a training session with you and I hated you for every minute of it. But I think I didn't. If my younger self thought that this is what they wanted to be doing, so I did it all the time. But actually, I really hated it. I wasn't having
Yeah,
a good time, and I was telling everyone I was because I don't know. I wanted them to
everyone
like
was
me,
doing it.
or yeah, and everyone seems to like it, and I'm like, what's wrong with me for not really liking it?
Yeah. I would probably be like that. So like, oh, you know, when you're like, oh, better go out again. Like I do take breaks now, like a couple of months a year here and there. I'll take it off completely, and I'm like, grand. And then when I go back to it, I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Like I'm more dangerous at home. Like if I'm out in a pub or like drinks, okay, close and go home. If I'm at home, it's like, well, the bar's not closing until I run out to drink.
Oh, you're after sesh mop.
Oh, for sure.
I am definitely no. I'm like I used to be an after sesh gal. I used to beg for the after sesh. Like I'd be like, "Oh, come on, let's keep this going." But inside, I would be like, "I really hope that all these people want to go to bed because I do not want to continue partying." But I couldn't admit to that. Like I would be like, "No, everyone will think I'm so lame if I say that I don't want to." Um,
But
so I don't know who I was trying to lie to, them or me, but like,
or have you
you
ever
know,
been at the pub as well, and people are like, "We're gonna go clubbing because the pub's closed," and you're like, "Yeah," and then you get there and you're like, "Why? What have
I
I
know
done?
what is
It's
clubs are
busy."
horrible.
I know. So like I've actually in the last few years, like the lads that were out with them and they're like, "Oh, we're going to club." Like me and Peter would just be like, "Nope, we're going home, bye," and then we get drunk at home. But that's okay.
That's way more fun. Like I love dancing. I love a dance floor. I love shaking it. Like I do. I love a dance. But I don't think it's worth it, like, for the nightclub experience. Like, it's just gross. It's
Yeah,
gross, and they always smell like Red Bull.
too. It's
Like,
ingrained in the carpet.
it's just rotten. You always lose something. You spend so much money. And always what ends up happening is everyone ends up sitting at a table. I'm going to sound like such a granny right now, okay? And I don't even care. Everyone ends up sitting at a table. Nobody can hear each other talking. So you just kind of sit there with your face lit up by your phone because you're looking at Instagram, posting about how much fun you're having when actually you're all just sitting there silently looking at your phones.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't understand. I'd
Hey, come
rather.
here with me for a quick selfie. Now we'll post that on Instagram. Look how much fun we're having.
Yeah, look how much fun we're having. But actually, now, as soon as that picture ended, I just went back to like sipping my drink and sitting silently because I can't hear you talk. Like, oh, I'm an old lady.
I don't like to go out if I don't know I'll be guaranteed a seat. If I can't get a seat, I don't really want to go there. And that has been like me for like
No.
at least 3 years now, so I'm very old.
I know. To be honest, though, like, at least if you don't have a seat, then you might dance. You know, sometimes the seat, I think, ruins the
I'm not
crack.
going to the club. This is a pub I'm talking about. This is a pub
Yeah,
I'm talking about.
I'm not
Um,
really a pub goer. I'm not
I
really
don't
an
mind.
anything goer. I don't really do out drinking ever.
Not so much anymore, really.
So boring.
We've been out for drinks once this year, and that's because COVID hit a week after I stopped drink. I came back to drinking after 2 months off.
Oh, I was there for your first drinky
My
back on
only,
sauce.
the only night, not the only day out. We didn't even have a night out. We were home by like 6 o'clock.
Yeah, no, well, you went out after it was
Oh yeah, no,
it was Kira's mom's birthday.
I didn't go out. I went to the gaff.
Well, you know, it's like better than nothing. We got a little bit buzzed during the day though.
Yeah, that's because I hadn't drank in 2 months, so I had one drink. But I was like, woo!
I was fairly sauced at that brunch actually.
Yeah,
It was so good.
I better go home now. I've had like 3 drinks
Your 3 drinks for me is like a fair amount.
until lockdown happened, and you started glugging bottles of wine.
Yeah, put the locked in lockdown. I wish I could take that back. Oh, dad joke.
That made me so happy.
Oh yeah, no, I've definitely me and wine are really good friends during lockdown. We've been there for each other.
Ah, yeah, sure, you support each other. You're
We
supporting
do.
local Irish businesses by buying loads of wine off them.
Does my local spar count as
Well,
a local Irish business?
well, maybe. Okay, it may not be Irish, but there's Irish people working in it, maybe, or
That's
people
true.
who moved to
There
Ireland
is.
and living here,
Yeah, that's
so
true.
they're still getting wages because you're buying all their wine.
Yeah, good. Delighted for them. I like to support local. The last thing, getting off the drink topic,
Yeah.
the last thing I would say to myself, I don't know if you would have this same experience, but I'd love to know if this would be something that your younger self would have said also. Or sorry, what I would say to my younger self now is that you don't have to be the skinniest. You don't have to be dieting. You don't have to be on any kind of rules. You can live rule free in terms of eating and food and your weight. It's okay. You're not too big, you're not too small, you're fine just the way you are.
Yeah, no,
Would you give that advice to your younger self as well?
100%. Like,
Okay.
I would have had those silly thoughts when I was like silly, not say silly, I know it's not a silly thing, but I would have been like that when I was way younger. Now I'm fine.
Yeah.
If I want the pizza, I eat the pizza. If I want
Mhm.
cake, I eat the cake. But like that, I would have had that. I would have been like that with in my younger years. Definitely, I've done stuff like, excessive cardio or trying to eat less or, all that stuff. Like I've literally done all of it.
Yeah. I used to
Yeah.
have this thing where I felt like I had to be the skinniest. I felt like maybe that was my one, because again, naturally, I was a dancer for many years, so I've naturally really petite. I think I'm naturally petite anyway. It's just the way I am. But because like
Mhm.
had such an active lifestyle, and I kind of usually do. Like, I maybe had a gap of my active lifestyle for a few years, but most of my life I've been really into kind of movement. So I've always been quite naturally slim, naturally fit. Um, and but I had this thing that the only interesting thing about me was that I was the skinniest. So I
Yeah.
felt like I had to be the skinniest, the thinnest, the most toned, the smallest, this, that. I had to. And
Mm.
if anyone came into the room who was skinnier than me, I was like, oh dear God, I don't know how to deal with this now because I'm not the thinnest, which is
Yeah.
just ridiculous amount of pressure to put on yourself. Like, um,
Mm.
and for me, thinking the only interesting thing about me was my weight was
Yeah.
ridiculous. That that's the least interesting thing about me, you
So
know.
much more to you.
Yeah, I'm gas. But like, yeah, that I think that I'm still learning that lesson, as you know, all the time. That's the biggest lesson I probably have to learn every single day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would definitely just say, like, Yvonne, give yourself a break. You don't need to put that kind of pressure on yourself.
Yeah, for sure. Like I had an obsession out for a long time because I've always had big legs,
Mm.
um,
You've
a
lovely
big
legs.
bum, but I would wanted them skinnier, and I was like, and now I know it's my build. It's fine,
Yeah.
and they're also
Yeah.
really fucking powerful. So I'm like, hey, I'm gonna keep you.
Mm.
But there would have been like it's that thing. It's like, why can't my legs be skinnier? Why don't I get that? Like, and it's just they're not going to. You're a horse rider. It's never going to happen.
Yeah.
It's your build. So like now, obviously all that stuff. I'm like, no, whatever. I like my muscle.
That's amazing. I
But
do
like
still,
younger me,
you know this, I still find that hard, but
mm.
learning day by day.
But yeah, sure. But like younger me was definitely there was times in my life where I went through like there was one stage. Now I was going through like a breakup and I was like like just basically run away from it. But I did drop to like 46 kilos. Like I was really, really like I was kind of obsessed with it, and I was like very, very thin at the time. And now it's
Really?
like I'm 10 kilos heavier than that now, like 11 kilos heavier, and I'm like, if I stay around this, I stay around this. Like I'm a tank. I'm happy with it. Like,
You're gonna have
mm.
to translate kilos to pounds for me.
Oh, I've no idea.
Oh, okay. I have
Basically,
no idea either.
um, just like so, like 10 kilos would be like roughly 22 to 25 pounds, I'd say.
Okay, so like 2 stone-ish,
Yeah, like imagine that
I
coming
think.
off me and my build right now.
Yeah, you're so well, you're very petite as it is anyway, and
Yeah.
barely got you've barely got any fat on you anyway. You're all muscle.
Yes, I'm very lean,
You're a
which is
very
why I'm
lean
heavier.
lady.
Which is why I'm heavier because there's a lot of muscle in it. But like again, like the even thoughts of trying to like I think I like I had a thing about being around 50 kilos for a long time. It's like even the idea of me
Yeah.
trying to do that now, I'm like, no.
Isn't it strange that, like, and I see it so much in women I know who've had or have eating disorders, and I know from myself as well, that you get fixations on numbers. Like,
Yeah,
you
100%.
pick an arbitrary number out of the sky and decide, like, this is the number and I cannot be above this number. Like, who put that idea in your head? It's just so strange.
Oh, it's crazy. Like, and it's not even just eating. There's so many people they come with it, and it's like I want to lose
Yeah.
this much, and you're like, why?
Yeah, what does
Because
that
that's
mean?
what the magazine says, or that's what this says, and it's like I was
Yeah.
like, and I've done it a few times. To people, I've been like, lads, guess how much I weigh, and they're like, oh, you're nothing. Like, and I'm like, I'm actually
Yeah.
I think it's like 8.5 stone or something is what I am, which isn't a lot, but still like people are like, oh God, wouldn't they think you were that big or whatever, or that heavy or whatever? And I'm like, yeah, I know, it's because I'm
Yeah.
predominantly muscle.
I honestly couldn't tell you what I weigh now, and I think I'm delighted to not know. Um,
That's good though, because like
yeah,
it's not.
I couldn't even give you a ballpark now.
Well, I basically
Which is
I would
strange.
weigh myself maybe once a month at best.
Yeah,
Um,
I love what
so
you told me once about weighing yourself as just collecting data. That made
yeah,
me happy.
that's it. As I look at it, I'm like, oh, grand, I'm still 56. Oh, look, I'm like, I will literally be anywhere between 55, I think, and 57.
Yeah,
So the difference is minimal. So I'm like, oh, I'm still that way. Grand, cool. I'm still
and
there.
it's just it's not an emotional number. It's just literally, it is what it is. It's
Yeah.
completely objective. Doesn't make you upset or anything. It's just a number. I love that you've reached that level of
Mm.
like that you can take the emotion out of it. That's why I
Yeah.
don't weigh myself. I don't think I can. I As much as I want to think that I can, I think if I stood in the scales, I would, if it was a lower number than I was expecting or a higher number than I was expecting, I feel like it would affect me emotionally. So it's just not
Yeah.
worth it. Like, it doesn't matter. It really
But
doesn't
yeah,
matter.
that's it. Like you obviously ended up in a for like okay, we've all had eating issues, I say, but like yours was a lot more extreme than mine, and I've completely come out of it, whereas you are still working on it every day. And the
Yeah.
thing you don't need to do is send yourself back to that place by looking at a weight number and thinking it's too much or too little.
Yeah, exactly. It literally doesn't define anything other than my gravitational pull onto the
Yeah,
earth.
yeah, basically.
Like, that's it. And yeah, like, it's just, yeah, it's mad. I just find it mad at like so many women and men, I guess, but predominantly women that I know um would have had some kind of struggle with a disordered eating
Mm.
or diet pattern within their life,
Oh, yeah,
especially in their younger life. So it's so tough.
yeah. Just need to tell that younger self, like, do not worry, it doesn't define you. Your size,
Yeah.
what's inside. I know that sounds cheesy as hell, but it's true. Like, it's
No, it's so true.
what you
Like,
do and what you like do for others, do for yourself. That's more important than if you're a size 0 or a size
yeah,
20.
I
And that works
know.
both ways. Like, for the skinny girl who can't put on weight, don't worry about it. It's just the way you are.
Exactly. It goes both ways. And that's the thing, like, there's so many, I know, like, there's probably loads of women who would look at, say, a body like mine or a body like yours and be like, I wish I was curvy. I wish I had like more muscle or whatever. And then I'd be like, oh my God, my muscle's getting so big. It's so scary. Oh my God, yeah, I've got big muscly legs. And like, that would be loads of women would be like, look at your beautiful, lovely, musty legs. I have little toothpick legs. I wish I had your muscly legs.
Yeah,
It's just like, we're all just shooting for an ideal that doesn't exist because we're all meant to be different.
yeah, exactly.
Do you think if you look back to your younger self, like say 18-year-old Chrissy, do you think she would have pictured your life as the way it is now?
I don't think so at all. No, I like
Really?
18-year-old Chrissy and 28-year-old Chrissy, just about, um, are very, very different people. Like, I think she was so like folks that like in a sense folks were like, I like radio, I'm gonna be in radio, and then like go into it and you're like, oh, maybe not. And now I'm like, I want to do this, but this is how I'm going to do it, as opposed to expecting it to happen and wondering when I
Okay.
don't put myself out there why it doesn't happen. So yeah, I've learned a lot. I'm like still goal orientated in the sense of what I want to do, but I'm putting the work in now because it's the only way I'm going to do it.
Yeah. So
What
you're
about
able to kind of translate like that trajectory, like, okay, I want to go from here to here, so this is what I need to do. Whereas before you were just like, I want to be here, but I'm not. Why?
yeah, and like, oh, but I have to do that, but I'm scared, I don't want to. Now it's like I'm scared,
Mm,
I don't want to, but how else am I going to get there?
wow, that's so cool.
Yeah. What would you say to yourself about yourself?
No, 18-year-old Yvonne would have still been looking for someone to love her just the way she was, but looking for it in all the wrong places for sure. I would have been working shit hard to become a professional dancer because, again, I thought that that was probably the only thing that I could really do, the only thing I was really naturally good at. But already I was starting to get a sense at that age, I think, that like one, I wasn't as good as I needed to be, and that was hard. But also that it wasn't going to be the right choice for me. But I don't know, I was just blindly going into it because I didn't know what else to do. And I
Yeah.
never, ever, ever would have expected that I would be okay to have a job like the one I have now, where I'm like kind of have to take everything one day at a time. I don't have any like contracts or anything. Like it's just kind of like living for the moment. I think I would have thought that I needed some security. And I don't think I ever would have pictured that I could be this happy. Um I was already such a stressed, anxious person when I was like 18, heading towards some of the hardest years of my life. I don't think I realized that actually happiness like this exists, that you can be free, that like I'd find someone like Mark who loves me exactly the way I am, and I can just be an absolute weirdo around him. And yeah, like just my life is just deadly. I just don't think I could have pictured that by deviating from the original plan, I could find as much happiness as I have now.
Yeah, that's spot on. Actually, you worded that really well. I'd be very similar like that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really have much to add other than you actually hit the nail on the head there.
Yeah, but it's true, isn't it? Like that's so important then. Like that's both of us. Like we're in our late 20s now, dum, almost 30. And we're so happy now. And okay, look, everything's not perfect. Shit happens, and I think we've both experienced that. Sure, look, COVID happened. Um and but we're doing completely different things to what we were doing when we were in our early 20s or late teens. So it's just
Yeah.
kind of, if you are listening and you're younger and you're not happy, there's loads of room for growth left, and like your life will probably change massively and probably for the better.
Yeah, like things could be completely different for both of us by the time we're nearly 40 as well. Like you don't know. So
Oh my god.
I think now I'm more prepared for anything to change and me to go a different direction. Whereas before, like that, like I need to stay on this path. This is what I need to, but you don't. So if you are, I've said, if you are younger and you don't think it's right, just don't do it.
Yeah, totally. Go with your gut.
Yeah,
Listen to your instincts,
yeah,
and just yeah, just realize that you're never stuck. Like if something, yeah, like you said, if something isn't working, you are in the driving seat to change it, and there will be things that you need to change. I think for very few people do they make a choice that this is what I want to do in my life and then they go ahead and do it. I think for most people it's like, I think this is what I want to do, but actually I did this and that led me to here, and then I went over here and then this happened and it fucked it all up, and then I had to start again, and now I'm here. I'm really happy.
yeah.
Like it'll work out. Just, I guess, go easy on yourself if things aren't perfect right now. And just believe in yourself, because there is good stuff to come.
And there's perfection in imperfection. So
Well, I hope so, because I'm not perfect at all.
well, yeah, no, don't worry about being perfect. It's all good.
Yeah. Such a good chat today.
Yes, it was very good, very insightful.
Yeah, it was
I
so
was kind of really
interesting to hear
sarcastic.
from
I
your
meant that. Yeah,
No, me, yeah, of course.
I was like, yes, that
I
was so
saw
insightful.
I saw this thing on Instagram earlier, and it was like, try say these words without sounding sarcastic, and the words were like so good. I'm really interested. I can't remember them all now, but it was so. And I really tried. I like looked at them all, and I tried to say them sincerely, and it's just impossible. It was so good. Um, but no, you're right. It was so nice to hear from someone else's perspective.
Yeah, exactly. It's always good to know how we all learn and grow. That was
Yeah.
English, wasn't it?
Huh?
That was a proper English sentence, wasn't it?
That was the good English.
The good English, not the bad
That was the
English.
real good English. No, that was the proper stuff. Like the Queen of England would be proud.
Right, shall we wrap it up? So,
I'd say we should. We've been going on forever.
Yeah. We like to talk.
Yeah, that was a good one. So
Yeah.
guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Delighted to have you as always. So if you do have any kind of input at all, we are both more than happy to have a chat about it. So you can catch us both on Instagram and Chrissy on TikTok. Me not so much. So Chrissy,
She
where
just
can people
stopped on
find?
TikTok.
Yeah, literally the only account I follow is you. So Chrissy, where can people find?
So you can find me on Instagram at Chrissy H Fitness, or if you are looking for me on TikTok, it's Chrissy H Fit. So I dropped the ness because I'm trying to be cool with the young kids, and that's spelled CHRISSY. And Yvonne, where do we find you?
I am found at Yvonne_Hegarty_yoga on Instagram. So you can hit us up there. Any questions are welcome, or any suggestions for further topics are welcome too. And yeah, hope you're all keeping safe and well in phase 2, and we'll see you all for phase 3.
Yeah, we actually might see people.
Yeah, that would be weird.
Yeah, we might record in person.
Oh my god, that would be so cool.
Right. Good luck. See you all later, or talk to you all later.
Thanks, Chrissy. See you soon.
Thanks.
Thank you again for listening to the Why Not podcast. Because remember, in a world where everybody asks why, we're here to ask why not.